On 1+1, the battle to stay alive for a horror writer whose days are numbered. Thornbird's author Colleen McCullough and why government advisor Professor Ross Garnaut is a man in demand. Hello, I'm Jane Hutchin. Welcome to the program. British climate change sceptic Lord Christopher Monckton has shone a light on our first guest, describing Professor Ross Garnaut as a Nazi, but that speaks more about Lord Monckton. Ross Garnaut is a man who's worn many hats as an academic, former ambassador, corporate chairman, even a farmer. But it's his latest role that's made him one of the most powerful people in the country right now. Professor Ross Garnaut is the face of the often explosive climate change debate as the government's key advisor on global warming. He's speaking with Sarah Clark.
Professor Ross Garnaut, thanks very much for joining 1+1.
Good to be here, Sarah.
Now, you've had a very busy schedule for the last few years. In particular, you produced around 10 or so reports on climate change. Has this been your biggest challenge so far?
Yeah, busy in two parts. I gave one report to the then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd in September 2008, had a breather and then was brought back into it late last year. Yes, it's probably the hardest one I've tackled, and maybe the most important in terms of the consequences for Australia getting it right.
After the reports in 2008, when you were commissioned by the former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, the government then at that stage distanced itself from you and those reports. How did that feel?
Oh, I've been around the place a long time, so I didn't feel anything personally. In fact, right through that period after my report came out, I was able to discuss the issues at length with the Prime Minister. I thought the government made mistakes, especially in shelving the scheme when it did, and naturally I was disappointed at the mistakes, but I've been around public policy too long to take it personally.
But do you find this time round, is there more support, more public support, or how have you found the support base differ between the two, rather than, I suppose, what you've discovered or been reporting on?
Well, one very big difference is last time what I was working on had bipartisan interest. The opposition at the time was strongly supportive of the work, encouraged it, and accepted the main recommendations. The opposition's target's the same as the government's target, and that came out of the 2008 review. The opposition changed its mind. Some people say that I've been partisan because I didn't change my mind when the opposition did, but I think that if you're required to give an independent assessment, and that's what my terms of reference required me to do, and if you're honest by the analysis, you've got to come to the conclusions that the analysis leads you to, and you can't change your mind for a political reason. So, as it happens this time, some people on the opposition side are criticising my work. It's because they've changed, not because I have. And let me add that not all opposition front benches are of that mind. I've had some very nice encouragement from leading members of the opposition.
And has that been one of the bigger hurdles, that you found that the not having the bipartisan support, the opposition has triggered a lot of the division within the public community, or is it leading the charge?
Yes, I think so. That sort of legitimised antipathetic views, and the nature of the high-level political debate has legitimised extreme views. So this is a deeply polarised discussion, and in some ways a departure from the civility that we used to associate with Australian political culture.
And are you disappointed by that? I mean, the targets and the attacks have been pretty heavy going, and we talked to some scientists this week about the death threats that they've been getting. Are you disappointed by that?
Oh, I am concerned for Australia because I think we are a better political culture, a better society, if we are able to debate hard issues, complicated issues in a rational way.
And you've been the face of this climate change debate pretty much, and right now you're probably one of the most powerful people in the country, particularly when it comes to deciding on the carbon pricing and the recommendations you've made. Have you been a target, and how have you found that personally?
Well, I'm not one of the most powerful people in the country. I don't make any decisions. Whether or not I have any influence at all depends on the view that's taken of my advice by other people in the government, other people in the parliament who are not part of the government. They'll make all the decisions. They're the powerful ones. I have to try to be persuasive. I think I've worked things out pretty well, so I try to be as persuasive as I can. But it's all their decisions. Yes, this debate has made all serious participants who are on the side of rational discourse targets not helpful to talk any more about that, but it's been a disruptive process.
Has this job been bigger than you expected it would be then?
Well, I knew I was taking on a big one when I took on the original report. It's bigger in the sense that I thought I'd done it. I gave the report to Kevin Rudd in September 2008 with the words, "I have completed my presumptuous task." Well, it wasn't completed. I had to do this big update. So what was a surprise is that I had to go around the racecourse again.
You mentioned in your National Press Club address in May that the climate change debate has become a fight between old political culture of special interests and the national interest. Who's going to win down the track, do you think?
Well, I think national interest's got a chance, but it's a struggle. I think that the current disposition of the Parliament creates an opportunity for the national interest to win through. I expect it to, but we'll see.
How do you define